Hello everyone. So welcome to another video under the series Form Filling Fundas by Team PrepB. In this particular video, we would be discussing about the questions that are given in IIM Rohtak's form and what would be the right strategy to fill up those questions. But first thing first, firstly, I would like to discuss about what are the steps to be followed if there is any form that is coming out and the particular form is having certain questions to be answered. So if there is any form of that sort, firstly, wait for Prebby's video. Prebby will be definitely releasing a video along with the guidelines that how should be someone filling the questions. Post that there would be the instructions that you have to follow, and pertaining to those instructions, you have to make your answers, right? After your answers are made, you can get your answer reviewed by your mentor. If you're part of PrepB, we are obviously providing you personalized mentorship where you can get your answer reviewed by your personal mentor. And now what we are also providing is a L2 mentorship where you can get your answer reviewed at a level 2 review sessions. Post that, we will be also releasing Charcha B School for most of the B schools, in which you can watch that particular video and get insights pertaining to the college life around that B school. What are the major happenings in that B school? And you can probably get some insights from that particular video and plug in that your answer. Simultaneously, we will be creating an additional support group for the B school, but this is only for the people who have enrolled in Prep B. So, for example, if you are getting call from IIM Rohtak, we will be creating an exclusive group for you over Telegram, and we will be also making sure that people from IIM Rohtak join that group. It will be exclusive group for the call getters of IIM Rohtak, and you can get sort of personalized guidance in that sense. Also, if you have any doubt pertaining to a particular B school, in this case, IIM Rohtak, you can discuss those doubts. Cool. So going ahead now, starting with the questions. So first question basically asks you about your extracurricular activities, and those activities are defined in three different parts. So we will start with the first part, that is sports. Now, firstly, let me talk about the framework that you can use here. The framework that one can use here will be a SRL framework that will be defined as your sports, what was your role in that particular sports, and the results, right? So very easy framework. If you have been part of any sports at any level, given that school, college, state level, national level, any level, just mention that for example, I have been part of this sport at this particular level. Now, if it was a team sport, then you can be a captain of that particular sport team or a vice captain, right? So if there was a defined role for you, try to talk about that role in one line and post that, as one of the famous cricketer also mentioned, या तो win है या तो learning. So if you had any wins in that particular game, if you won any medal or any position, please write about that and then post that, write about one learning that you had from whole journey of pursuing that sport. If you don't have any achievement, but at least you have played that particular sport at a good level, for example, at a state level or a national level, that is an achievement in itself, right? Because everyone does not get a chance to play at a state or a national level. So post that when you have mentioned about the sports, the level, and the role that you played in that particular team. Post that you can also mention one learning that you had from that particular journey of yours, right? One thing that I would want to mention over here is that if you don't have anything pertaining to sports category in your profile, please don't push anything forcefully, right? If you feel that this is something you would want to skip, you can skip it, but don't push things forcefully into your form, right? Because if there's that particular aspect or that particular thing in your profile does not have value, it is no mean to sort of mention that in the form, right? So you can skip this part, and there have been some students in past year also whom didn't had any sports exposure for that matter, and they left this particular section blank, right? So there is no problem in leaving this particular section blank. Now, coming to the next section. So this is a section where most of the people are confused by seeing the word organizational. So please understand that organizational activities are structural roles and initiative where you pitched in and you sort of took up a position, a sort of an initiative. And most importantly, this is not related to working in a company, job, or internship, but refers to taking responsibilities in student community or initiative based settings. Right. So please be clear that it is no way related to working for an organization, but it is more about organizing something on your own and taking ownership of that thing. Right. So framework that anyone can use over here is a RRI framework. which will be defined as your role, your responsibility, and the impact that you created, right? So, firstly, let me give you what is the brief description of this particular framework. So, in role, you will be mentioning about the position held or the responsibility taken by you. Post that, you will be also talking about that how did you manage? What were the things that you did to manage that particular thing? Or if you were a leader in any activity that you are mentioning, what did you did as a leader, right? So keyword over here will be you, right? You don't have to mention what your group did, you don't have to mention what your team did, but what you as an individual did, right? That is why organizational word is mentioned over here, right? Post that, you have to definitely mention the impact that you were able to create, right? Again, the keyword over here is you. I am not talking about the impact that your team created as a whole, but what was the impact that your responsibility sort of created, right? So this is the framework that you can follow, and in impact, you can talk about the outcomes that you delivered, the results that you sort of attained, or the learnings that you can talk about. And also, if possible, you can talk about numbers. For example, if you're taking an example of a sponsorship pitch, right? So you pitched in, and sort of last year you had sponsors of 1 lakh, but this year you were able to convert sponsorship of 2 lakh, 2.5 lakh. So if you can give quantitative examples or impact driven by quantitative terms, try to do that. If not possible, qualitative also works. There is no hard and fast rule that you have to mention numbers only. Now, just to give you some examples, this is not an exhaustive list, but just to give you right direction that what could be certain aspects you can think about while mentioning in this particular answer. One can talk about college committees and PORs, fest or event coordination or organization, case competition and life project where you were leader of a case competition team, or you had certain life projects where you worked as a team or an individual. So what were your learnings? What were the initiative you drive at that particular time? Then you can talk about student initiatives that you took as a particular individual. For example, we have seen certain student in past year who themselves pitched something in the college that was not happening from past that particular year, but they themselves pitched for a new idea, that sort of any event or anything else they pitched in from their side, and that particular thing started happening from that particular year, right? So then you can also talk about a startup. If you had any startup, or uh, if you try to build any startup in past, you can talk about that. You can talk about leadership positions or a ownership position in a NGO. For example, you were not part of a team, but you were leading a team for an NGO to sort of build around a campaign or do something. So this is the major difference, that you were not part of a team, you were not just following what that was guided to you, but you were leading that team from the front, right? So this is something that I feel will make this particular question very much clear, that what exactly has to be written in organizational part of extracurricular activities. Post this, the last thing that is asked in extracurricular activities is social and cultural aspect. Right. So framework for this would be very simple. The AIL framework, that is very simple. Firstly, you will talk about the activity, the cultural or the social activity that was undertaken by you. Secondly, again, you will talk about involvement of yours. Right. So what is the common mistake that people do is that they talk about what was the involvement of the team altogether, right? Or what was the team or doing altogether. But this is not something what the panelists want to see. They want to see you as a person, right? So you firstly try to mention what you did as an individual, what was your individual contribution to the particular impact that was derived out. And lastly, you will talk about the learning and the impact. For example, what were the skills that you were able to develop from the activity that you have mentioned, or the contribution that you made, and sort of that drive to some particular result, right? So something that you can mention is firstly the learning, and secondly the impact, right? So these are two things that you should mention along with that, so that your answer looks complete, and so that it sort of reflects that you are a person who also seeks learning out of an experience, and not a person who just passes through different experiences. Giving examples. So, in the cultural part, you can mention certain things like performing arts, dance, music, theater, anchoring, debating, events, and you can see a list. This is not an exhaustive list, but there are certain things that you can think along. Then, in the social part, you can mention about NGO volunteering. Now, again, I'll tell you the difference. What I mentioned in the last slide, I mentioned that if you are part of a NGO and you were being a leader of any team, then you will mention it in the organizational part. But if you are just volunteering in an NGO, you were just part of a team, and it was not something you were doing on a daily basis or a regular basis, right? So then you can put it under the social aspect, right? Then teaching or mentoring underprivileged students, awareness campaigns or social drives, NSS, Rotaract, or community initiatives that you did for like giving out to the society and for the betterment of the society. So these are certain things that you can mention in the social and the cultural part. Now, I think so. This is all for the extracurricular thing. We have covered the sports part, we have covered the organizational part, and we have also covered the social and the cultural part. The next question that was given in the form was around your hobbies. So, see, this is a very simple question, but we have to make sure that while we are presenting our hobbies, we also make sure that our hobbies showcases our personality, and it also showcases that we are not pursuing that hobby for namesake, and we are really involved in that hobby, right? We are actively participating in that hobby. So this is what just we have to make sure. Rest hobbies question is very easy and very straightforward. So how you can present it as it, for example, in hobby you can write, I am taking example of badminton. Like badminton has been a consistent part of my routine over the past few years. Now, then this is very important that you have to give reasoning. Like there were n number of hobbies that were present. Why are you pursuing any particular hobby? That is very important. You are mentioning the rationale behind pursuing your hobby, right? So it helps you to maintain physical fitness and mental focus. Now, when you have mentioned the reason, the second thing that comes up is that what it reflects about you. This is also very important. So, what you are making sure is that, firstly, that you are a person who drives the decision with rationale, and also a person who is self-aware about he or she, right? So, the sports has taught me the importance of preparation, quick decision making, and learning from losses, while reinforcing discipline and perseverance. So, I think so. If you follow this structure, whatever hobby you want to mention, you can mention, but it will make sure that the impact that is derived out from your answer is at a good level, right? Going to the last question in this particular form, and this is again a question where a lot of people are confused and a lot of students are asking doubts also, that hey, they have given any other information you would like to share. So there can be a lot of information. What exactly does the panelist or the college wants to know? So my personal suggestion to you would be, don't read this question as any other information you would like to share. Read this question either as any unique information you would like to share. So basically, what they are trying to see is any USP, right? And I have interacted with a few people from IIM Rohtak and just asked them that what were the things that you mentioned. So one of the student of ours mentioned about the social media channel and the YouTube content creation part. Then another student was there. That particular student mentioned about the startup that he had at the COVID time, right? So anything unique that you feel is very much personalized to you, very much exclusive to you, you should definitely try to highlight that part by the virtue of this question, right? Another way of looking this particular question can be any other information you would like to share that has not been highlighted till yet. See, till now the questions has been very much focused. For example, panelist is asking about sports. There could be a person who is not that much involved into sports, but there are different unique aspects about the individual's profile that the person wanted to highlight, right? So this particular question gives you a broad spectrum to talk about unique individual traits or exposure in your life. So please use this question to maximize the chance of yours to highlight your uniqueness, right? So please don't see this question as a very generic question around sharing any random information about you, but the question demands a very unique and exclusive information about you. So this is all for this particular video about IIM Rohtak's form. Now, if you feel that you have filled the form and you would want any mentorship sort of a thing, or you would want to discuss any particular pointer, you can definitely join our Telegram community and WhatsApp community, where there are a lot of people already discussing different doubts day in, day out, right? So, link would be given in the description box. You can definitely try joining that community. And also, if you feel that now this is the time to prepare for GDPI, you can also try booking the trial mock PIs for Prep B, right? So stay tuned for the next video. As soon as any form comes out, we will definitely make a video on that. And all the best Best wishes from Team Prebby to all of you. May you convert your best call.